giving us 12 minutes.
So I'm a writer. I'm going to school to be a better writer. That's the goal. And I'm thinking every single day, no matter whether I want to or not, I'm thinking about what it means to be a writer, and I'm thinking about whether or not there are these certain things I have to do in order to be a successful writer in today's day and age. I'm thinking a lot about like okay, today our topic of discussion is Addison Rae because I think she represents a part of our cultural milieu that is interesting to me, and that I feel like is not only relevant to just if you wanted to be a writer, but is relevant to like a lot of subsects of this kind of do-it-yourself career thing that people are doing. Like, do you notice how I saw this poll? It's like 30. I'll find it for you, but it's like 34% or something of Gen Zs are interested in. A large sum of Gen Z is interested apparently in making our own careers off the internet, and everything's like do it yourself. And we know that. Like, we've heard forever that I'm a part of this generation that's like, I just want to be an influencer. Like that crazy statistic that, oh, all these kids want to be influencers and they don't even want to be like doctors and whatever. I think that it's a fair thing to be worried about. And also, there's something that feels really disgusting about it, about this like continuous need to get in on the action being like the supposed giant money bags looming around influencering and and doing all these things to get this absorbent amount of money that apparently influencers have by going to like bubbly events or whatever and doing like podcast brand deals and all of that stuff. And I think it feels a bit meta to say it while I'm doing it, but I think I feel really disingenuous feeling like I have to make all this silly content in order to just be a writer and just like write books. But even if we think back to like the Joan Didion days, Didion did not make most of her money off of her books. Maybe posthumously her family is making more from her books. Actually, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're making a lot off of my year of magical thinking. I don't actually know if she has any family, but Didion is a great example of how even a writer at their most successful, like an insanely talented writer, still, I have a fly in my room, still has to make a lot of their money writing scripts and working for film and television where the supposed all the money is. And I think we can transfer that into the way we look at influencing and making content for the internet now. That stupid millennial thing of like the internet is the new television. And we know that is true. Just because, what's that amazing movie that she made? The Something in Needle Park. It's like a beautiful, beautiful movie that I think Didion wrote the screenplay for. I remember reading a quote somewhere. Tag that she said for it was Romeo and Juliet, but on blank street, or Romeo and Juliet on heroin, I can't remember. And I don't think there's anything bad about making your art through media. I think it's just the way the world works, and we have to be commodities. Even now, I think about myself all the time that like I have to use the assets given to me in order to make my career happen. So if I eventually want to make a career off of writing, and ideally not from being like a professor or like working for a large publishing house as like an editor and then writing stuff on the side. If you don't want it to be something on the side for the rest of your life, you have to become the commodity. We read Didion because she herself is the commodity. I read Patti Smith because she is the commodity. Her love story is the commodity. Even Anais Nin. I don't give a shit about half of the things Anais Nin is talking about, and honestly, I haven't even really read that much of her. But I've actually read none. But I will buy a book from her because I am buying into her narrative. And I think it is similar, I don't know, maybe it's similar to an actor, yeah, that we watch the movies because we buy into the story of the actor sometimes. But I think a writer is a really interesting example that we, like, I have 6 minutes left. I will give like all of my love and my attention into these writers if I buy into their story. Eileen Myles is a great example. I went to one of their readings in New York, like maybe last year, and it was amazing, but I had never read any of their work ever, and yet I wanted to go because of the story. because I knew they were this amazing writer and this kind of I believe post beatnik, perhaps directly in beatnik, but I think a little bit post. This really fascinating, amazing writer, and I was like, I am buying into that fantasy. And a lot of it also is self-imposed. I'm buying into that. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm buying into that fantasy because I'm I'm trying to purchase it. Like everything is buying power, everything. But I'm trying to purchase this really beautiful story of their lives because I want to make myself intrinsically more interesting. It feels very similar to I don't know if you guys spent a lot of time in your early childhood trying to get famous, but I will tell you, I feel like I've spent every waking minute of my life in the back of my mind being like, yeah, well, why would I do that though? It won't make me famous. Like, even being a young child, everything I did was relating to this like magical world of fame. As a child, it was like Disney fame, and then we grew into this. For a while, it was like musical theater fame. And I don't want to talk about it. And then we migrated into the world of writing fame, which I think always had this indirect. What we're talking about with Addison Rae as a final tie-in in my last 4 minutes is when we're buying into the subscription of a person's personality as a commodity, we're also, I think, we are treating them like an influencer, which I think is really fucked up. I think Eileen Miles' art is way better, is way too good to be treated as though she is a fucking Addison Rae and I'm buying into her new Rebrand. Like, that's not, it's just unfair to the work. And yet, I'm making myself, I'm on a shelf right now, and I'm asking you to buy me. I'm asking you to buy into my ideas and my fantasy because I want people to read my work, and I want people to listen to my ideas with me, and I want people to hear me. And I think fame boils down in a lot of ways to just wanting to be listened to, as just writing, but I don't want to do that to other writers. That's a mean thing to say, but it's true. We want to be listened to. We love attention, and we want to be listened to. And not always. Most of us are very introverted people, but everyone likes attention. Everybody likes attention, no matter what you have to say. Anyway, but as a final, in my last 3 minutes, as a final tie-in to Addison Rae, I think her Rebrand is really fascinating to me, and I'm finding myself continuously like engaging in her posts all the time. And there's this one girl that I have also begun following. And this kind of like Britney Spearsification. I can't do another fucking ification. I'm sorry. This Britney Spearsing of Addison Rae I think is really interesting. And I think why she's getting such a wider level of attention than she was getting before as just like a teenager when she'd do that little face. And she would get songs written by her from like the Kid Laroi. Like, this is so different. It's crazy that this is the same person. But I think she's just become so much more valuable to us as consumers, and especially us as young women, because we were always her target audience. And also, though, what's interesting is that the target audience was also young men. I mean, like, the Kid Laroi does not write a song about you unless he thinks you're attractive, I'm assuming. I don't really know. I'm not the Kid Laroi. but she was working in the same way that, like, Charli D'Amelio was. But now that she's working in the same way as Charli XCX, do you see what I did there? She's less valuable to the male audience, which means she lost a large sum of her audience, but she's now very valuable. Women have a greater respect for her, but most of all, she has a mystery about her, and that's what makes her a purchasable commodity. Sure, she was useful before. Remember when she tried starting a brand? I don't really think it went anywhere. But now, I am buying into her mystery. She is a commodity that I want to purchase, and I'm paying her with my attention all the time. I sound so annoying. Okay, I like you guys a lot. Bye. Have a good night. And anyway, I got this tank top from a girl. You can see it if you're watching me. I got this tank top from a girl on the street in the East Village of New York, and she was from Toronto but was in New York on an artist visa. Another thing to look into. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Bye guys. I love you.